Welcome to a Stuart Models number 9 horizontal steam engine part 3, taking a closer look at this model steam boiler and looking at the pros and cons of using it in a steam plant with the Stuart number 9. It doesn't look right with the Stuart number 9 because it's a really large 6-inch diameter boiler. That's why I suggested to the customer mounting the boiler and the condenser on a separate board. It's all a question of scale and it's very easy to get it wrong. In this clip I'm looking inside the boiler by removing the safety valve just to see how much lime scale's in there, and it seems to be okay. And so I didn't lose it, I put the safety valve back in place. The safety valve is fitted with a rubber washer, so you don't need to use a spanner to tighten it. Here I'm removing the chimney to just have a look at the steam dryer. The wet steam comes from the tap on the top of the boiler, goes through a pipe and down into the chimney hole, where it forms a loop in front of the flues. I've had some experience with boilers of this type in the past in the form of the Max Steam twin flue 6-inch diameter boiler, and with that I found lighting it very hazardous. What I'm doing here is removing both of the ceramic burners to look at them, see what the condition is, and do a bit of a test run on the bench. Each of the burners is held in place with 2 bolts, which is a good thing, because they can ignite with explosive force. I was impressed by the radiating water tubes inside the flues. Here's the burner assembly on the bench. I'm going to connect a gas supply to it. I do notice that the ceramic in one of the burners is a bit damaged, but the other one's okay. This is a gas valve from a company called Clevedon Steam, and it is really well made, unlike some other gas valves I've seen which are not so good. But this one is perfect, and the outlet has the correct profile to take an O-ring. I've connected a piece of silicone rubber tubing between the tap, using a spring clip to hold it in place, and the burner, using a spring clip to hold that in place too. I open the gas valve and light the burner. It's a good idea to put the flame over the burner before you open the gas valve. Both of the ceramic burners seem to be fine, but as you can see on the left-hand side one, it's been a bit damaged somehow. But it still works, which is the main thing. After a short test on the bench, I disconnected the piping and bolted the burners back in place into the boiler. These ceramic burners are held to the boiler with 2 steel screws in each burner. If I remember rightly, a few years ago I was working on a Max Steam version of this, and the burners were held in place with 1 brass screw. The problem with a twin flue boiler is they can actually ignite with explosive force, and here very tentatively I'm lighting it. My previous experience with boilers of this type, being the Max Steam version, was that when the gas exploded as it lit, it blew off one of the burners, shearing the brass bolt. This one appears to be much better, and as I mentioned earlier, these burners are held in place with 2 steel machine screws, which is a much better arrangement. An overview of this boiler: it is 6 inches in diameter, and because it is a twin water tube boiler, it holds a lot of water, so it's going to be good for making a lot of steam, provided the heat source is sufficient. These ceramic burners will be okay, but it would be really ferocious if it had blowtorch type burners. But the disadvantage of those is the roaring noise that they make. Ceramic burners are quiet, but don't give as much heat as a pair of blowtorch heads, but this application, providing steam for a Stuart Models number 9, it will be fine. If anything, it's a bit on the big side. The orange dot on the ruler is nothing to do with it. This is a 6-inch diameter boiler. Some box of bits came with the engine and boiler and the condenser. This is a microcosm displacement lubricator, and they are very good. The only trouble is they seem to resemble a piece of Victorian anaesthetic equipment. But apart from that, they work very well, and you can always see how much oil you have in the lubricator. I want to have a look in the front of the boiler to see the superheater in more detail. Although really it's not a superheater, it's just a steam dryer. It's a single coil of pipe. After removing the 3 screws that hold the front cap in place, I used a screwdriver to lever the cap away from the boiler. And here you can see the loop of copper piping. I think it would be a much better idea to have 2 or 3 loops of copper piping in this area. That way the steam would be hotter. I've seen what I want to see for the moment, so I'm putting the panel back in place. It's a bit uneven around the edge, but finally I found a position where it fitted. Here I'm just retightening the bolts that hold it all together. 2 of these bolts actually go into the copper of the end cap, but one of them misses the hole altogether, because there isn't one. In this clip I'm refitting the boiler banding. It all wants a bit of adjustment and the boiler needs moving around on the base, but I'll do that later. With a boiler of this size and its potential steaming capacity with higher power burners, I was surprised to find that the taps are 1/4x40 type to suit pipe that is 5/32 of an inch in diameter. As you can see, there are 2 taps fitted to the top of the boiler. One is through the superheater or steam dryer and the other one is a direct wet steam out. I'll finish this video as I started with the boiler on my small turntable. And that is it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists you can actually watch the videos back to back.